Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. An agenda. I'm just going to let you view it for a moment. This is the things that we're going to cover this evening. Okay. So the Bellevue Children's Academy mission, our mission is to foster young students in becoming global citizens who demonstrate innovation, creativity, and dignity, inspiring a love of learning, fostering compassion and innovation, empowering future global leaders. And we would like to welcome you to our satellite campus. So, and we'll talk about it in just a moment, but this year we're happy and proud to announce that we have opened the doors on our pre-prep location. So this is our satellite open house tonight, and we've done a couple pre-prep open house presentations also. And if you are interested in that location, we can answer some of those questions, or we will be doing another open house in January for the pre-prep location. So we do have the two, and we are pre-K. Here we have our hours of operation. This is what a typical school day is. So we are a full day program. It's not a drop-in daycare setting idea. 9 a.m. to 2:50 is the school day, but we begin accepting the students into our classrooms at 8:40. And that is when our timing sheet period begins. During that welcome, put your backpack away, hang up your jackets, have a greeting, wash your hands, of course. That's the 8:40 to 9 a.m. If you come after 9 a.m., officially that would be tardy, right? 2:50 is when our dismissal begins, and we would run that dismissal from 2:50 to 3:10. We do have an extended day. We'll talk more about that, but I think we just want to establish that we are a full day, school day academic program. The satellite campus can facilitate 80 students. We have 8 classrooms, 8 teachers. This next point is very important, and I think a lot of people here, this is a question that we get a lot. Students must be 4 years old by August 31st, 2022 for the upcoming school year. We require that your student is 4 years old by that date. And we have a lot of questions on this. We're very particular about it. Christina and I have been around for a long time, and we have bent that rule, very rarely, but we have bent that rule on occasion. And at the end of the year, in reflection with the families, administration, the teacher, we all have come to that agreement. Wish we would have waited for one more year, allowed them that year of growth, that year of maturity. Anyway, that is, so I just want you to know that before we continue. And yes, we ask that students are toilet trained before entering pre-K. Most of them are, and we allow for accidents, right? That's going to happen. We all understand that, but they should be able to use the toilet independently and by themselves before entering pre-K. So we've come to our first video, and we have sound. It was taken when there's no students in the building. So we're just going to walk around an empty building here, give you an idea of what the inside of the facility looks like. Again, if you're unable to see when I hit play here, if you're unable to see, we'll be emailing this out and you'll be able to view it on your own when you receive it, download it. Okay, here we have a couple shots of our new pre-prep location that we've just opened up this year. It is the Redmond location. So Satellite is located here in the Overlake Bellevue area. And our pre-prep location is at our Willows, WPS, Willows Preparatory School. That's our high school, middle school. It's a 15-acre plot out there in the valley, and we have just opened up our 2 classrooms of pre-prep. And it's a really nice location over there. New construction, it has that new feel. There's 2 classrooms, 3 teachers over there. So it's a nice option, especially for families that might be traveling from Kirkland or Woodinville. This is a nice location in proximity. Here we have our BCA 1 location. That's just across the 520 freeway from where Satellite Campus is at. That's our kindergarten, first grade, Japanese bilingual, and BCA 2. These 2 buildings are kind of side by side. If you're familiar with where the Fred Meyer's is or the Burger King, these are landmarks that are recognizable next to where these 2 buildings are at. And really, BCA 1 is on the left side of Burger King, and BCA 2 is on the right hand side. So you can just walk between those 2 campuses there. BCA 2 is our 2nd grade through 4th grade. And our Willows Preparatory, 5th grade through 12th. And here's our slide about our ISP partnership. These are our owners. They purchased our school about 3 years ago. ISP is a London-based educational investment group that connects schools from around the world to advance student learning through many of the principles and philosophies of our highly touted International Baccalaureate program. The ISP network connects over 50 schools in 12 countries in the US, Canada, Mexico, Central America, Europe, the Middle East, South America, and Southeast Asia. We encourage all families to explore the ISP website and learn more about the many opportunities ISP brings to BCA WPS for the future learning and growth. Couple schools were just in town last week. The connections that are being built between the ISP schools. We had a school from Toronto visit us last week and a school from the Miami area that were in town. They were very impressed. They're very different schools. So yeah, there's not a blueprint on the ISP schools. One of the schools that was here from Miami is, oh no. Anyway, they were very impressed to come and see how differently we were doing things, and they came away with a lot of complimentary words. It was really fun. And Mrs. Von Poli, you want to?
I would love to. And thank you, Mr. Doherty, for letting me talk about the thing that I love to talk about most, and that is why you choose BCA. One thing that I've really experienced through the 17 years I've been here is talking to parents who've been at our school, talking to parents who've been at other schools. And I think one of the things that we can be most proud of is the dedication that our teachers have to the students. Our number one priority are parents and students, and understanding that that's a team. And so we start with a very solid curriculum. We do have high standards, but we work with students and parents to help meet those standards in a lot of different ways. One way we can do that is having low, teacher ratio class sizes. So obviously, we follow the DCYF of 1 teacher to 10 students. And so those ratios are great. I'm really fortunate this year. Just because of numbers, I have a few more students in my class, which means I get another full-time teacher. So the students in my class actually have a 1-to-6 ratio. So we're really lucky in that regard. Parents are loving that. But all the teachers we work with, their number one is we love our students. We're here to support them. We're here to help them, to guide them. And it's wonderful to be a part of a team like that. In terms of our curriculum, we do have a bit of direct instruction. So when I say that, parents are like, What is that? Okay, so it's a little bit more like standard education at times, where some maybe how you and I as parents were raised. So we have something called a 20-60-20 method. So 20% is a review, and it doesn't necessarily happen at the beginning of our lessons, but throughout we're reviewing concepts that the students have already learned. And we feel like review is so important. We want students to have a sense of mastery in a lot of areas before moving on, and reviewing is always important. 60% of our instruction is going to be kind of at the general level of the class, and often in group work or in collaborative projects or in team building activities. And then the other 20% is what we call our challenge. And what we really want to do is challenge those students who are ready for it. And it also allows those students who might not be ready for it to be exposed to those challenges. And it gets them motivated to reach higher standards as well. So the 20-60-20 method is just that: review, work together as our 60, and then another challenge of about 20%. And this can come in lots of different ways. We'll talk more specifically about the type of curriculum we teach, some aspects of it, our timings program, and things like that. One really important way that we try to get students to learn is through asking questions and getting them curious about their own learning. And from experience, and I have a husband who's a high school teacher, he comes home and often is saying, "Oh, my students they're just not curious." And I said, that's why teaching students to be curious and ask questions is so important when they're really, really young. Because if we can instill that curiosity of asking questions and wanting to know more and more and more, that will stay with them throughout their entire education process. So it's a real foundation of this inquiry learning. Teaching students how to ask a question is really important, because sometimes at 4, they might not know how to ask a question. So we teach them how to ask questions, and then kind of try to get them to be risk takers and try asking more challenging questions and more in-depth questions, and allowing them to have a little bit of agency and then a lot more agency over their own learning as the year goes on. And in terms of our philosophy of depth and acceleration, we really want them to have a solid foundation before going on into their kindergarten and first grade year. And that can look different in a lot of different ways. So we do want to expose them to a lot of things, but there are some things that are really important that they have mastery over. Decoding to 10 or decoding to 6, simple addition to 10, understanding their letter sounds and reading short vowel words. Those are all areas that we need mastery over. And then we're able to expose them to more challenging areas that they'll hit in kindergarten and first grade as they move on in our BCA program. So that's just kind of a quick overview, and we'll go into a little bit more specifics on what all that means. Oh, look at those students. Oh, one of them is mine. Look at him ready to ask a question. So we do, throughout the day, we teach our math, our language, and inquiry every single day. So just as a quick example, a lot of parents say, so what does my students do all day? What do they do? What does a schedule look like? So real quick, I'm just going to let you know what my schedule is this year. The first thing we do, students come in, we do timings. That's from 8:40 to 9. Then at 9 o'clock, we all dismiss to carpet. We take attendance, we talk about our day, do some calendar, get right into our language. Language really involves a lot of different pieces. Phonics, our phonics book is a strong foundation for our phonics. It also goes hand in hand with our timings program in terms of how it develops. So within our phonics, we're learning letter sounds, and then we're blending those letter sounds together. Then we're doing short vowel words, long vowel words, blends, digraphs. And then we'll get into a little more challenging concepts such as contractions and things at the very end of the year. But the short vowel, long vowel blends and digraphs is also mirrored in our phonics timings program. And so those things go hand in hand. So maybe for language, one day we would do phonics. If it's Wednesday, we would be doing wordly wise. Now, wordly wise Wednesday, which is the student's favorite, is when we explore our vocabulary. And we love this program. I do believe Wordly Wise is used in kindergarten and first grade, and and on. And it is a real kind of centerpiece for our week. And vocabulary is so important because it really encourages comprehension, especially as these curious students are learning how to read. We want them to be able to incorporate as many vocabulary words into their speaking language as well as their reading language. And then, of course, we can't forget handwriting. Because yes, we are still writing. We're not all typing yet. And I love teaching handwriting. Oh, it's my favorite thing. We have so much fun. There's songs and there's dances and we're getting up, and my kids were laughing so hard today. I had to be like, okay, another class is next to us and they're trying to learn. We were doing handwriting letter S today. So all of these are really important pieces with our language curriculum. So my kids have language and then they get a snack, and then we're ready to go to introduce our math concepts. And we do use a BCA math book that Mr. Doherty is going to be touching on. But some of the things that we talk about in math are simple addition, simple subtraction. We also get to talk about fractions and three-dimensional shapes. And at the end of our book, we do some fun coding type activities, which is awesome. We talk about money, lots of different math skills to go along. And of course, lots and lots of story problems, making it applicable. And then my kids go to recess and we come back and we get ready for lunch. And then after lunch, we have a specialist class, which Mr. Doherty will talk about. And then we go to recess. And at the end of the day, we have what's called our inquiry-based learning. And it's really where we start kind of combining not just language and math concepts, but social emotional, our sciences, our social studies. Right now, we're talking about festivals of lights around the world. And so we've talked about Hanukkah, and today we talked about Ramadan and Eid, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about Lunar New Year. And so really exposing students to a lot of the world around them and getting them curious about things like that. And then, of course, we want to incorporate STEM. And one way we do that is through Lego education. And this is a wonderful opportunity for students to work collaboratively, to build different things with Legos. Legos are a huge part of my classroom in any form. And so the students really enjoy kind of getting that base of starting to learn about Lego education. And I'll let Mr. Doherty. Yeah, perfect. Now, academics are a huge part of what we do, but it's not the only part. Character education is super important, and it's all about how we are learners. And with these learner profiles, we really want every child to embody an aspect of each of these learner profiles. And some of us have more strengths than others, and some of us are developing these. Whether we're principled when we learn to play games, are we being honest and fair? Or if we're a little shy, can we be a risk taker and try reading aloud to the class one day? Are we being caring at recess, and not just caring toward our friends, but are we being caring toward the earth and caring toward each other? And so when we talk about social emotional learning, we're also talking about how do we develop these skills to be well-rounded learners. And if we can instill these early in life, it will really stay with them throughout their educational career. And so we really focus on these being knowledgeable, reflective, open-minded. And then sometimes it's kind of nice because, you know, if there's 10 learner profiles and we have 10 months in the school year, we can give a little reward to the students at the end of the month and celebration of it. So I really enjoy learner profiles.
I do too.
And then, as I talked about, the end of, at least for my schedule this year, the end of the day, we have our inquiry time. And this is really where the students get to learn through exploration. And if just looking at the pictures, we've acted out stories. We love to have author studies where we focus on a book, and then students then either act it out or go more in depth into that author or maybe one particular book. Just kind of using their whole bodies to learn is so important. And again, always asking questions, wanting to go further, really taking agency of their own learning and getting excited about it. And the nice thing about inquiry-based learning is it allows it to be a little bit more of classroom interest driven for this part. Yes, we have our base curriculum of our language and, math and all those things, but it also allows us to open up to what the students in our class are very interested in. And when you can do that, it makes the learning so much more impactful. And I really love it as a teacher.
Okay, I like to believe that if you are here this evening for our presentation that you have heard about the Bellevue Children's Academy timing sheet program. I like to believe that anyway. If not, we'll give you a little information here. We've told you our timing period takes place in the mornings, right? 8:40 to 9 o'clock. If you are on time, you get timed that day. If you come late, maybe we can't guarantee that your child gets their timing sheet. So there's a little incentive for being punctual. But here we have phonics timing sheet number, and then each day, every child is going to take one phonics and one math timing sheet. So here we have phonics timing sheet number 1. Here we have math timing sheet number 1. These are not in any kind of, they're not in a sequence right here. And I think this is misnumbered at this point. This would actually be timing sheet number, I don't know, 7, maybe 6 or 7 in the process. But just to give you an idea, this is where they would all begin in September. Timing sheets offer the children the independent portion of our curriculum. At this point, the child is able to accelerate at a pace that they are ready and not held by the class standard or anything like that. If a child comes in prepared, if a child practices, they come to school on time. A lot of factors go into progressing through the timing program, but they are able to progress at their own pace. And so that's a really nice aspect for a lot of parents. The idea here is they come in and they're going to begin decoding the symbols. We've got the 26 symbols of the alphabet, uppercase, lowercase, 52 symbols essentially, and then applying a meaning to the symbol. So what short vowel sound is A making a, right? Apple, elephant, insect, octopus, umbrella. This is pretty challenging timing sheet to begin with, but it's essential that we build that foundation and get that comprehension, get that understanding before we begin putting those letter sounds together and moving on. So you have the 26 letters here, and we would ask you that you are able to go through this in 60 seconds. Apple, bed, house, nest. You need to get clicking along. And really, we're looking more for 52, 53 seconds. That's just, there's a pace that when you are ready to progress and move on to the next timing sheet, you can feel it's not forced, it's not practiced or rehearsed. It's natural. And you are ready to move on to timing sheet number 2. And so that pace is typically around 52 to 53. If you did it in 59 seconds, you're not going to be penalized or punished or anything. You move on to the next timing sheet. But there is this natural pace to these timing sheets. Over here, you can see we have spent September, October. We're moving into 2 and 3 letter words and putting those sounds together. And these are short vowel words over here. And really, it's book 1. So where it says timing sheet number 1, it's timing sheet number 1 of a series, the short vowel series. Then we've got, this is book 2 of the long vowel series, but short vowel, long vowel, blends, digraphs. That's the 4 series of books in pre-K. Maybe in kindergarten also. Once you finish, it's kind of assumed that you're now able to read and you move on to books and other activities. The math program begins with decoding also, but this is a different form of decoding. Rather than decoding symbols and applying that, we are decoding quantity to begin. Yes, there will be symbols and decoding symbols to the quantity as we advance and progress on. But here we're asking that you can recognize small groups of numbers without counting. And so 1, 3, 1, 2, 2, 4, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 4. Good job. Felt clean. You're ready to move on to the next timing sheet. If you're hesitating, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, that's great. That's where you're at. But this is where we need to continue to practice and work on. Again, we're out of sequence here. We've skipped 10 timing sheets. Now we're on timing sheet 11. This is really where the challenge sets in during the pre-K year. A lot of children that have come in prepared, they can kind of fly through these sort of timing sheets. The math program advances much quicker at the beginning of the year than the phonics program. You can expect that. But then right around here, the challenge begins to set in. We need to make sure that we're practicing. And if the concepts have been put into place, then you're ready and you're ready to continue progressing. Here we've jumped ahead another several timing sheets, and this is quite a challenging timing sheet. Again, I don't want anyone to be frightened off. Let's say that this is the beginning of September. This is this time of year. It might be right around this December, January time. This might look like February or March. And so, no, we are not expecting your children to be able to do this right away. There's a healthy progression. I'm a big supporter of timing sheets, a big believer. So is Mrs. Von Poli. We're kind of the timing sheet people around here. If they are introduced correctly, if they are approached correctly, and in a healthy way, non-competitive, they're such a powerful tool, and they're a wonderful thing. We really talk about removing competition from, especially competition against other students in the class, that sort of a thing. Maybe a competition or a healthy competitive nature against yourself and trying to improve. We try to focus on improvement rather than the pass-fail idea, right? I do get caught up saying, "Oh, you passed your timing sheet," but we really want to just celebrate improvement as well as we go. And if done correctly, it's a wonderful tool. But it is just one component of our program, as Mrs. Von Poli was talking about all of the other components of the program. So I'm going to move on to our BCA math. I'm also very proud of our BCA math. It's quite popular. If you are here for this open house tonight, perhaps you have come here because some friends have recommended, oh, we have a very strong BCA math program. I'm quite proud of. We are also able to offer our BCA math book is for sale this year. It's our first year to be able to sell it. As we describe that or introduce that, we want to let you know that we strongly encourage you, if you do choose to purchase a BCA math book, that it's not really for you to work on at home or to just go home and do ahead of time. This is the curriculum that we're going to be doing during the school year, and we would ask you to let the teachers introduce the curriculum as they go through the school year. But in the past, we've had a lot of parents, and maybe never more than these last couple of years, with the parents are not allowed in the building under our COVID situation that we all find ourselves in. I think you understand that. And so it can be difficult to ask the children, what did you do today? What did you learn today? This is a little window into what they learned. You can read a weekly update that the teacher provides. You can have a curriculum map and follow along with what pages the children are accomplishing each week. And then you can talk about that and support your student from home. So it's a nice opportunity. We're getting nice feedback on that. And I think here comes our second video. And it's going to show you some nice examples. Mrs. Doherty, this is Mrs. Doherty's classroom here. Let me make sure I'm okay. We've got volume, and I'm going to hit play.
Putting my circle in the top box or in the bottom box? The top. Please go ahead and make a blue circle. It's already. Once you've done it. Anything I need to put in the top box? Yeah. In the center.
On your mark. Home. On your mark. Get set.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
3. You're going to take out 3 blocks and start to build it underneath. Lovely pyramid, shrub, jasmine. Oscar, that looks great. Could you write one more, sir? This is what we're practicing, okay? Try again.
Okay, Isabel, you have developed a 3 is the missing part.
What?
1, because 3 plus 1 equals 4, and then the parts equal the whole, right?
1, 2, 3, 3, 1.
Beautiful. Clean. 11 correct, 0 mistakes. You did it in plenty of time. Now we just need to do it one more time. Be ready to pass.
I practiced in my car when my mom was driving me to.
I can tell you've been working really hard. Thank you.
Aye. Okay, a lot of parents, it's usually a big question. They want to know more about our specialist courses. This is just a list of the different classes that we offer. So in addition to a daily math lesson, a daily language lesson, an inquiry-based learning lesson, you're going to have your specialist of the day. So computers on one day, library on another, art, drama, each one takes place on a different day. Lego education is taught by the homeroom teacher, and library is usually on a double day. So you've only got 5 days. I know we've got seven subjects listed up here. We have a computer teacher, we have a librarian, an art. Now our art and our drama and our library teacher happen to be the same person. We do have a specialist music teacher, and Mr. Mercer is our PE teacher. He's been around, I don't know, since he was a very young man. I think he's been here 12 or 13 years. He's a wonderful educator. And here are just some pictures. I agree with these slides, but this is a typical day in the life of BCA pre-K. Mrs. Von Poli, you want to talk about this slide a little bit?
Absolutely. So some of the things that parents often want to know about is food, right? Which is very important. Of course, let's start out with lunch. There is an option for you to order school lunch if you choose to do so. There is a vegetarian option. As soon as all the paperwork is filled out in terms of allergies, that's all sent to the kitchen as well. So we can kind of keep an eye on things like that. But of course, you're welcome to send lunch with your student every day, which is wonderful too. Our AM snack, in my class, we call it AM snack and PM snack. So AM snack is what we ask parents to provide, and, you know, a fruit, maybe a little protein in the morning, something to get their energy up. And then the PM snack is really if they're going to stay for our aftercare program or an enrichment class, and we do provide an option for that. If you would like to provide a snack for the PM snack, you're welcome to do that, but we will provide them with an option at that point. We do have 2 recesses. They're each 30 minutes. We have an AM recess and a PM recess. And then after school, we do provide enrichment programs that you can sign up for an extra fee, of course. We just started our second kind of trimester of enrichment classes. So this time our students are choosing ballet classes, and karate is a big hit with Mr. Mercer, our PE teacher. So all the students love to go to karate. There's also Spanish for the first time this year, which is fantastic. There's painting, there's art classes, there's soccer classes. There's a new singing class. That's the first time we've had that, which is wonderful. There's chess. That's a big hit. Gymnastics, all sorts of different things. And so parents can sign up for that. They run from about 3:15 to between 4:15 and 4:30 is usually the pickup window after the enrichment classes. Your student is able to sign up to go to aftercare after that point if you choose to do that, or pick them up at 4:30, between 4:15 and 4:30, which is fine. We also provide morning care starting at 7:30. And that goes from 7:30 until 8:40 when they'll be dismissed. And aftercare runs from our 3:10 to 6 o'clock. And really this year we're really fortunate. We have a woman who has worked at BCA 1, I believe, for a while, Miss Rosa. She is kind of helping run our aftercare, and we have teachers that are also working in our aftercare. So the students are really familiar with the people there, and it's nice. They have a lot of downtime to play and interact and get to know different students that maybe aren't in our class. They're usually, of course, is fun crafts that they're doing and reading a story and things of that nature. When we're talking, I just want to put something out on a radar. When we're talking about all the things that we do during our day, it is a lot of fun things during our day. Our kids do get a little tired sometimes. We don't have formal nap time, so that's something that as we get a little closer to kids starting, we always encourage parents to, all right, maybe test out a couple days without a nap, see how we're doing. Of course, if they fall asleep in class, we do have a cot for them to sleep on if they need a little rest, but we don't have a structured nap time in our day. So I wanted just to make sure all parents were kind of aware of that.
And before I go on to the next slide, let's bring their attention to the bcaacademy.com/campus life. If you have questions about the cost on the lunch, the different options of the menu, let's see down here. Yes, the enrichment courses you're going to find them here at this bcaacademy.com/campus life. You'll be able to see the price on those enrichments, I believe, and the cost of the different aftercare options and morning care. We do wear a uniform at BCA. Last year, we had a little interruption, right? And the children were not required to wear uniforms for last year. We're very proud to announce that we are back in uniform this year. And I'm personally a uniform guy. I'm a big believer in the purpose of uniform, and they just look so handsome and so cute this year. Here is several examples of the different pieces, and we've brought some new additions. If you're a sibling that you had a big brother, big sister that's come through our program before, or you'll notice our uniforms have changed a little bit, and providing, especially for the ladies, they have a lot more uniform option this year. If you have questions about those uniform pieces, again, please visit bcacademy.com/campuslife/uniforms. You can take a look at the pieces. Okay, this is a big topic recently. The BCA WPS response to COVID-19. Once again, this year we have offered families an online option. We took a poll or took a survey in August who would be interested in the online program and who would like to stay in person. Last year, I was a remote teacher. I was an online teacher, and we went 50-50 split, 4 classrooms on campus, 4 classrooms online learning. This year, we only had 10 children, 10 students out of 100 requested that they could be online, and we called it a flex option. And this week, we have offered the parents their second survey, who would like to return to in-person, who would like to stay online. Of the 10 families that chose the online option, 8 of them are feeling much more comfortable at this point, and they're going to return to in-person. We're going to be happy to welcome them for our second semester. We will continue to offer this as long as there is a demand, interest, right? If there's interest, I'm really proud of the service that we have offered. This online, our online, I've heard looks a little different. We have a lot of families. I can't even believe, can 4-year-old children really participate? Absolutely they can. Takes a little attention, a little time. They need to learn how to function that mute button, use the hand raise function. But with the correct guidance, I was so proud of what we were able to accomplish last year and what we are still offering. But right now the interest dwindling as these children are turning 5 years old. In person, let's just go through this list here with the in person. What COVID responses have we done? We have a school nurse this year, and she is just wonderful, and ooh, she's getting her work in this year. She is updating that health and safety handbook as new guidance comes out, as new information emerges. She is updating it and sending that out to the entire community. Yeah, she's just been so valuable this year. There's a daily health screening of both staff and students that are on campus. We get to this next point, extra cleaning and sanitizing of the facilities. It's true. I mean, that, yeah, there's no deception there by any stretch. But Mrs. Von Poli, we have been practicing these extra cleaning and sanitizing. We take it very seriously and have for many, many, many years. And so when these extra hand washing? No, we already washed our hands extra sanitizing the desk? No, we've already taken care of that. We sanitize our desks before we eat, after we eat, in the morning before the day begins, and at the end of the day before we go home. We wash our hands as we enter the building. We wash our hands before we eat, after we eat, before going to the playground, after coming from the playground, before we go to our computer class, after we come back. And we have been doing that for the longest time. It's just a part of our procedures. So we take it very seriously. And I do want to impress that upon you. The health of the students, the health of the community is a priority, a major priority. Everyone on campus still wears a mask. I think we're all hoping that the day will come where we will be able to move past this and get to the other side of that. But for the time being, yes, our students and faculty still are wearing masks at all times, with the exception of meals. And the social distancing is still in place. What response are we offering for the online? Our online students participate in a full day of learning. I think they have 5 learning sessions a day, beginning at a timing sheet period that is set up for them between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. They are accomplishing the identical curriculum as the students that are in person. We have an exchange program on Fridays, a material exchange, so that parents are dropping off the completed work and picking up the week. It does provide a little challenge. We have to think a week ahead in getting the curriculum prepared, and so that it's ready on Friday, what they're going to be doing and accomplishing the following week. Time is allotted for making social connections. This is such an important part of our online learning, is just stretching ourselves and reimagining and just constantly challenging ourselves to find ways for the children to have a social connection. Of course, it is a big drawback to the online learning. And so there's the collaboration between home and school, that I can assure you has never been finer. The team between the parent and the teacher and the student, you're projecting yourself into the home of the families. The families are watching you teach your lessons in a way that the in-person students just cannot see. There, you can't be in the classroom, right? Even pre-COVID, you couldn't be in the classroom to see how this is happening. It is a huge benefit to the online learning that you're able to support your student at home in a way that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. We do use the Microsoft Teams platform, as we're using this evening, and we assign each student a school email address that they will use to log in to the Teams calendar. And yeah, it takes about 1 month. It took about September, and those children get so functional on Teams and just navigating around and sending chats and emojis and breakout rooms. I had such a great time last year with that. It's a very difficult decision that the families are making. Every family is having this very challenging decision, weighing the risks with the rewards. And I just would like to help encourage the families that we take this health and safety as the top priority. And we have had a couple quarantine situations where, let's just take an example, one of our staff members' spouse perhaps has tested positive. So they're a close contact, and we've quarantined a building, or we've quarantined a couple classrooms, and we send the children into a remote learning option for 14 days. That has happened a couple times over the past 2 years. We've had zero spread to the children, zero spread between children. And in this regard, the parents have been so patient, so flexible. The community we've worked together, and I'm just really proud that we're able to say that. And we've been leaders. Bellevue Children's Academy, I feel we have been leaders throughout this pandemic response. We were the first school to close, whether that was I did hear this stat last week. We were the first school in the country to close in early March. I'm not sure if that meant the first ISP school to close. It could have meant that we were the first school in the country to close our doors. We had a little criticism. Other schools were not closing at the time. I felt, in hindsight, very proud in our response and in our leadership to the community. Then I also heard we were the first school to open our doors at a time when the public school was committing to a full year of online. Last fall, we opened our doors. We had a little criticism at that point. We were able to navigate with zero spread to the community and once again offer this service and start welcoming students back. It looked a little different. It does look a little different. But we've been leaders throughout. I hope that we continue. Okay, here we have a slide about our parent association. These are things that pre-COVID, our wonderful PA was able to bring into our classroom and help us with some different exhibits that would come as we're talking about the masks and hoping that we are able to move beyond this quickly and get to the other side. Hopefully we're able to bring all of these back in. They are not in our program this current year. We have the greatest of hopes that we will reincorporate them into our program for the upcoming school year. We just have to wait and see how things develop. But we do still have our annual celebrations. We're just getting ready to have our winter celebration next week. We have had a gala auction experience in the past. We've brought the shadow puppet theaters and carnivals, different workshops, and some hunger drive. We are having the hunger drive this year, and our Hope Link coin drive will take place. But Farmers in the Classroom, not this year. Kids Quest Museum, not this year. Unfortunately, these are such wonderful activities. Here's the list of the field trips that we have. Again, we've tabled these for the year. We heavily tried to reimagine at the beginning of the year. Can we? How can we imagine and get these children down to the Children's Museum? This would probably be the week that we would be doing it, but we just can't figure out how to safely get on buses. We have bubbles at school, right? And how can we get into parent chaperone cars? And so for this year, we've put a pause in that. We hope that we're able to reintroduce this for the next year. And the pre-K level, our field trips are the Children's Museum in December and the Seattle Aquarium in April, May, in the spring. They pair up nicely with units that we happen to be teaching at those times of the year. Here you can see a list of, from K through 5, the different field trips that they would attend as they progress through the school. Okay. Anne, would you like to take over for the application process?
I would. All right, so here is our admissions page. If you have not already, please go ahead and go on that page to get all of the steps for how to apply. Once you have applied, I will respond to you via email and give you the next steps. And then if you have any questions for me, you can ask at that point as well. Some important dates we have here. February 11th is our priority application deadline. What that means is you want to have all of your information into your Ravenna file. Ravenna is the platform we use to put in your initial application and any other information you have about your child. So you want all of that in by February 11th in order to be considered for our priority deadline. If you apply after that deadline, it means that if there was a seat available, you could go ahead and be considered for it. But usually we are full at that point. So it's a good idea to meet that deadline. February 17th, we have our interview day. This year, we will be again doing it on Teams because of COVID. And if you have any questions about that, we can talk more about it. But also, I always explain it in email, and then I follow up with you. We have directions right before the interview. So we really give you a lot of support in understanding how we do this interview day before it actually happens. February 25th is when our decisions are announced. That'll be via email, the email address that you put into your application. And then again, as I said, after February 25th is when we have our rolling admissions, which means if we have a seat, then your child would be considered. But again, it's best to apply by February 11th. Tuition. So this is our tuition rates for this year. Just to give you an idea, our new tuition rates are actually coming out next week. So by the end of next week, we will have them posted on our website. I will be giving information out via email. And if you come to one of our upcoming January open houses, we will have the new tuition and fees at that point as well. But this gives you an idea of our tuition rates for this year. And you can see our enrollment fee, and our parent association membership fee is there as well. And that is the information about tuition. And then there is my admissions email address. So if you have any questions, you can contact us there, and we are very happy to answer. But right now we are also going to be answering in just a moment via the chat, and also we'll turn on your mics. So if you have questions for us, you can get them answered that way too.
And thank you. We've come to the end of our presentation.